Can I have your attention, please? We'll be starting up shortly. Good evening, and welcome to the Lowell Planning Board for March 18th, 2024. The first matter on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for March 4th, 2024. Any of the board members have any comments or corrections on the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I believe Caleb had one addition. I think it was put in there. Is that correct, Caleb?
Yeah, I think it's revised.
Let's see the revised
Thank you
version.
for our staff for doing that.
So with that, Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to approve the minutes with the revised revision that was recommended by Caleb.
I second the motion.
Motion made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes yes. Any opposition? Hearing none, the motion is allowed for the approval of the minutes. First matter on the agenda on the public hearing is a continued business from 2 weeks ago, is a site plan review and special permit, 408 Suffolk Street and 585 Market Street. Dawn Corporation has applied to the Lowell Planning Board to construct a 33-unit mixed-use development at the above address. The subject property is located in the urban mixed-use and multifamily overlay district, the mid-rise zoning district. The proposal requires site plan review approval from the planning board for section 11.4 for development with more than 3 residential units, and a special permit approval from the planning board per section article 12.1 for greater than 11 units on one lot. So we were here 2 weeks ago, and we heard a presentation from the applicant with Attorney William Martin, and we saw the designs, and they walked through what they were going to do. We had some questions from some of the board members. We had 2 neighbors who lived together on 432 Suffolk Street in opposition. After discussing everything, the board came down to under that new zoning section, we needed a shadow analysis, and then we had a question about the back alleyway, and then the transportation management plan. So we continued the meeting to tonight's meeting to give the applicant the opportunity to address that. So saying that, this time I'll turn it over to the applicant.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Attorney William Martin, offices at 491 Dutton Street in Lowell. And I think that summary is correct. We, just so the board is aware, we did submit revised drawings, but to summarize briefly what we did on the drawings, the back of the building that faces the abutter, we had these sort of faux balconies, and changed that in the back so that it's just windows now. It's not full-length balconies. I don't see the abutters here. I think they were in favor of that change. They did appear at the Board of Appeals last week and did not speak. So they were here and had no opposition at the Board of Appeals. I think they were appreciative of that design. The other thing we did design-wise was in response to staff concerns about the frontage on Suffolk Street. So we're able to move the community room to the Suffolk Street side, which enables that to have actual windows on that community room. Previously, that were mechanical systems and things were going to be on the Suffolk Street side. So I think in the staff memo, I think they look favorably on that change. So those are the 2 big design changes. In addition, we did submit the shadow analysis. We submitted a traffic management plan that shows alternatives to auto transportation. And in the alley, we added a locking gate, a gate that locks from the inside, and added some lighting that will give better security in the back. So, so we think we would be responsive to the board's concerns, and happy to answer questions. The development team is here, the engineers are here, the architect's here. So if there's specific questions, be happy to answer.
The only question I would have would be, can someone just go over the shadow analysis for us? Because with this new zoning, this is the first time it's been before us. So I looked through all the pages, went through it all, but if someone can just break it down to layman's terms.
So Phil Tebow's the architect who prepared that, so
Sure,
we'll
thank you.
let him do that.
Thank you.
Hello, Philip Tebow from Philip Tebow Architects in Drake. So there are 3 different sets of essentially days. There's March 21st, there's, I believe, December 21st, or December, and then there's June date. The A1, the sheets that are listed as A1, A3, and A5, I believe, are shown as prior to the development, and shows the times of days during those hours within those certain days. The sheets A2, A4, thank you. So the sheets A2, A4, and A6 show the proposed development, a 4-story building, again, in reference to the same times as the existing. So you can kind of look at the existing on, so A9, you could look at the very first panel on the upper left-hand side, would be March 21st from 7:22 a.m. to 8:22 a.m. And that would be reciprocal to the A902 sheet, which would be the same day, same time period, and showing what the proposed, or what the new building would show as far as a shadow. And that goes through each panel, essentially.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
At this point in time, I'll open up to the public. Anybody here this evening want to speak in favor of this project? In favor? In favor? Hearing none. Anybody like to speak in opposition? In opposition? In opposition? Hearing none. At this time, I'll turn it over to the board members. May you have any questions?
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Sure, Mr. Fisher.
first of all, I'd like to thank the applicant. It was very easy to follow as far as the response based on the specific requests, and I think you did a good job addressing the concerns both that were raised by DPD and the board. At this point, I have no questions. I think our concerns were adequately addressed. Quite frankly, we're still trying to get our arms around the shadow analysis and how we would apply that. But I will say, even if it's just for abutters to have some idea of what the effects would be, again, many times it's about getting information out there to people to kind of understand the impact. And, even anecdotally, I went out there on Saturday at 8:34 in the morning, just to see where's the sun in relation to where the new building's gonna go, granted, that's just one time of the year. But I was confident that mushrooms were not gonna grow on the roof of this single family. And so, there was gonna be adequate distribution of sun and shade. And then, with the heat island effect, they may welcome the shade at some point, in the future. But, I think, at the very least, until we determine if, ways that we can use this, I just think it's important to get information out to abutters, just so that they understand the impact. So I want to thank you, again, for, quite frankly, you turned this around in a short period of time. So that was helpful as well. So that's all my comments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Shipp. Caleb, question?
Yeah, I agree with Jerry that appreciate the quick turnaround on the shadow study. So my take of it, reading it, is that seems like the new development will remove some of the sunlight on part of the year, particularly in the afternoon, from the butter's yard. I think that's what I read out of it. And it is an impact. but I also recognize staff comments that the property is meeting the pre-rezoning, I think, dimensional specification of the underlying zone. So I did, and if, before rezoning, shadow is not quite as much of a, I guess, consideration point based on the zoning regulations. So I do recognize that, it's because of the rezoning we get more information right now, which is helpful. But at the same time, I think there is a balance between what is allowed versus all the impacts that need to mitigate. And shadow is a hard one because if the building is in the way. So unless we move the building, which would be, I would guess, have a notable impact to the developers, like calculations as well, that in this case, where the building meets the underlying dimensional requirements, I think it is a balance with shadow. So I think I will think that is okay. Is inevitable in a way, but the property owner does have property rights as well. So that's my thoughts, sharing with the rest of the board. And then I also recognize the improvement to the in regard to preventing crime or undesirable activities in the alley by the applicant improving the design to have gates and security cameras. I think that certainly helped. And also redesigning the park, I believe with a connection with the adjacent property. Is that correct? Okay. Yeah, that we eliminate my concern of you only have one way in but no way out issue. So I appreciate the applicant, the whole team effort on improving and addressing that issues. And lastly, I see the TDM plan, the updated one dated, I don't know when it's dated, but it's the latest one, I believe. That mentions the lobby display.
March 24.
Oh, March 24, yeah. The lobby display mentioning that there will be information on various alternative mode of transportations that would be informing residents. So appreciate that effort. I think it's going to help to mitigate the lack of parking on site. So I also find that to myself satisfactory to our concerns. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Danny, any questions, comments?
Just quickly, Mr. Chairman, through you to Attorney Martin, great job coming back in 2 weeks. You addressed everything: windows, traffic plan, shadow analysis, lock the alley, secure it, light it, remove the balconies. We can't ask for anything more, and we appreciate what you and the applicant did. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Lockhart, we have Mr. Lockhart on Zoom. Richard, any comments? Richard? I'll come back to him. Allison, do you have any questions?
No, apologies, wasn't here last time, but caught up and also impressed with the quick turnaround and the shadow study. And Caleb always sits on all the points, so thank you for that. Yeah, appreciate it.
Let me know if Richard zooms in. Mr. Lockhart, you there? Huh? He's logged in? Oh, no. Okay. Is he coming on? What's that?
Mr. Chairman?
Oh, yes, there we go, Richard. How are you doing?
Okay, thanks. I think the applicant has done a very nice job with the traffic demand management plan. It's thorough, easy to understand, and will certainly help the project along and make it successful. Just a nice job. I do have a couple of questions coming from the design planner's comments on a memo. On the stormwater. Have you been working with the LRWWU to obtain a stormwater permit?
So yes, we've been in touch with folks at Stormwater, and I think that they approve of our design. I don't know that we have official permit at this point, but they're aware of what we're doing, and I think they approve.
Okay, so we're still waiting on that officially. The other question I have, there was a comment here about, where is it? About planting shade trees where feasible. Have you come up with a design for that, or are you continuing to work with DPD to come up with a solution?
So we did receive a variance last week, and one of the conditions of the variance was that we work with DPD to approve the plantings. So there's no final design yet for any of the plantings, but that it is our plan to consult with DPD. It's a requirement of the zoning permit.
Very good. Okay, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Lockhart. I don't have any questions. I think, as I stated at the beginning of the meeting, that we continued it for 3 reasons, and all 3 of those have been met. I also noted that when you revised the plan, that you provided the 5-foot setback to the abutting property, so you're meeting the minimum side yard, so you didn't require an extra variance on that when you changed the building back a little bit?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. Yep.
Thank you. Yeah, looking at all this, DPD meets their concerns, and I know they have no problem working with you with the shade trees. I think we addressed some of that at the previous meeting. Yeah, and basically, with the memo, it just said the zoning board gave you approval with the conditions. The applicant shall submit a revised site plan showing the 5-foot setback to the residential use. The applicant shall work with DPD to select to select tree species, and the applicant should coordinate with site plan with acre crossing development. So those are the conditions that were made by the ZBA. So, yeah, I have no concerns. I think it's going to be a good project. So I believe we need 2 votes, one for a site plan and one for a special permit.
Mr. Chairman, can I just ask a question to
absolutely.
Peter? Peter did, I think, based on the comments from the board members, we're satisfied with the transportation management plan, but did the city's transportation engineer have a chance to review it? Because I didn't see any comments.
Yeah, we didn't see anything from her either, so
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that means she looked at it and it was okay, or Dylan was running point on this project.
Okay,
so.
so okay. No problem. Thank you. So, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the site plan with the following conditions. That, subject to, I would incorporate condition B from the Zoning Board of Appeals, the applicant should work with DPD to select tree species for the park, and subject to the city's transportation engineer approving the transportation management plan. And I believe they've addressed everything else.
Want to do a stormwater permit?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the permitting process, but we make that sure subject to the stormwater permit as well.
Yeah, that should do it.
So we have a motion on the floor with conditions?
I'll
by-
second that motion.
We have a second by Attorney Tenza. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Chair votes yes. Any opposition? Hearing none, that motion for site plan carries 5 in favor, and, excuse me, none again. So now we need a motion for the special permit. I'll make a motion to approve the special permit with the same conditions that are outlined in the site plan.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by myself, second by Caleb. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, the special permit passes as well. Good luck, we wish you well.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Moving along on the agenda, the next matter is a special permit for 38 Westview Road and 13 Lincoln Parkway. Dennis and Lee Corners have applied to Lowell Planning Board to construct a new single-family home by subdividing the existing lot at 38 Westview Road and combining a remaining portion of 19 Lincoln Parkway. The subject properties are located in the suburban single-family zoning district. The proposal requires special permit approval from the Lowell Planning Board per section 1.1.17 to reduce the frontage to subdivide the lot. May we hear from the applicant, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good evening to...
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, before you start his testimony, I will be recusing myself on this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fischett.
So for the record, my name is John Geary of Geary & Geary LLP, 32 Church Street, Lowell, Mass. I'm here tonight representing the applicants, Dennis and Leanne Connors. Dennis and Leanne are with us this evening. We also have Doug Lees of Land Engineering and Environmental Services. Doug is the engineer for the project, prepared the site plan. As the chairman mentioned, this is a request for a special permit pursuant to 5.1.17 of the city zoning ordinance. Subject property consists of 2 tax parcels, and they're known as 38 Westview Road and 19 Lincoln Parkway. Together, those lots contain approximately 16,047 square feet of land on a very uniquely shaped lot in the suburban single-family zoning district. Dennis and Leanne reside at 38 Westview Road as their primary residence. That home consists of approximately 2,100 square feet of living space. It contains two bedrooms, 2 baths, and a 2-car garage. In advance of tonight's hearing, I have provided the board with a site plan that includes landscaping features for the Lincoln Parkway lot. We've provided floor plans, elevations, a rendering, and a streetscape of the home superimposed onto the lot. The applicant is proposing to split the existing 16,047 square foot lot into 2 lots. Once subdivided, the Westview lot would contain 8,055 square feet of land, and the Lincoln Parkway lot would contain 7,992 square feet of land. So roughly the lots are equally sized. The proposal also calls for the construction of a new home on the Lincoln Parkway lot. That home would consist of 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, a 2-car garage, and about 2,000 square feet of living space. So we're here tonight requesting issuance of a special permit in order to allow for the reduction of frontage from the required 90 feet in the suburban single-family district to 80 feet, which is what we have proposed on the site plan. The size of the lots which we are proposing are in character with nearby lots in the neighborhood. To demonstrate that, I have provided the board with an exhibit plan that was included in the submittals. On that exhibit plan, we show lots that have insufficient frontage, we show lots that have insufficient lot area, and then we show lots that have both of those features, insufficient frontage and insufficient lot area. So in total, there are about 22 lots that fit into those categories on the exhibit plan, and a relatively small geographical sampling of the neighborhood. Obviously, that was done to show the board that what we are proposing is in character with the neighborhood. The design of the proposed single-family home on the Lincoln Parkway lot was also done in a way that would complement the lot and the neighborhood. And as I said, we've provided the board with a streetscape that shows the board almost exactly what the finished product will look like once it's constructed on the lot. We've also received staff comments, so staff broke the comments down into planning board comments and zoning board comments, so obviously focusing on the planning board comments, the first 3 comments just explain the application tonight, which I've done. Picking up on the 4th comment, which goes through the special permit criteria. I'll take a few minutes and just run through that because it's important. So in terms of application to the master deed, the proposal is to create an additional single-family home in this single-family zoning district on a lot that is similarly sized to nearby lots. This is consistent with the city's comprehensive master plan and Sustainable Lowell 2025's housing choice plan. So it is certainly in character with the neighborhood. And going on to neighborhood character, the comments support the fact that the proposed home is in character with the surrounding single-family homes in terms of aesthetics, lot size, and frontage, and they do not see any significant impacts to the neighborhood. I think any impacts would be beneficial impacts to the neighborhood. In terms of environmental issues, there aren't expected to be any environmental issues with the construction of a single-family home. Traffic, access, and safety issues. So adding a single-family home in a single-family zoning district, and particularly on Lincoln Parkway, will not create any traffic concerns, access, or safety concerns. There's more than enough on-street parking for both lots here, for both the Westview property and the Lincoln Parkway home, the proposed home on Lincoln Parkway. And there are no traffic concerns whatsoever with regard to Westview. There's nothing changing on that street at all. There are no additional impacts noted on the comments, no expected impacts to public utilities or city finances. So that wraps up the criteria. I'll also point out that Dennis did his neighbor outreach. He reviewed the proposal with most of his abutters and abutters to abutters. In fact, in discussing the plan with the neighbor at the corner of Pine Street and Lincoln Parkway, that neighbor raised a concern about the footprint of the garage, the 2-car garage. So Dennis was able to go back to his design team, determine that he could shrink that footprint a little bit, and that seemed to alleviate any concerns that that particular neighbor had. This is not a spec lot for Dennis and Leanne. We have a young couple that's over in the corner here tonight that is very excited about the possibility of being able to build their home on this lot and live in the city of Lowell and contribute to the city of Lowell. In conjunction with tonight's hearing, we also, in conjunction with this application, we also had a zoning board hearing last Monday evening. We were seeking relief pursuant to 5.1 for dimensional requirements. At that meeting, the zoning board voted 7-0 unanimously to grant the relief that we were requesting. During the board members' comments, all were very positive about what we were proposing this evening. So with that, I'll turn the presentation over to Doug. Doug will go through the plans with the board. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. Doug Lees from Land Engineering, and engineer and the land surveyor on the project. So I just wanted to mention that as I'm talking about the survey. So this is the 2 parcels right here. This is Westview Road, the existing house at 38 Westview Road, and this is Lincoln Parkway with the vacant lot. These were originally 2 parcels, 2 separate parcels on the 1922 subdivision plan called Sunset Additions. So this was one building lot, this was a second building lot. Sometime around 2002, this lot was subdivided, and subsequently it all came under common ownership. So we want to go back to the 2 original lots. So we'll go back to the 2 original lots from the original plan. All the lots on this street pretty much had 90 feet of frontage, and the lots on this street had 80, 85 feet of frontage. That's the way the plan was laid out, that the roads curved like that. Lincoln Parkway was designed to be a boulevard. It's an 80-foot wide right-of-way. It was originally intended to be an island down the middle as a boulevard. So in the front of the lot, there's actually 17 feet of grass to the pavement on one side, and 4 feet of grass to the pavement on the other side. So when we get to the street view, it actually looks deeper and bigger than it really is because of the way the road is laid out and the width of the right-of-way. So again, that's the existing conditions. The site plan is submitted envelope, and we have some landscaping proposed, some trees in the front. Nothing will change on the Westview Road property. The driveway will come out on Lincoln Parkway from the two-car garage. The next plan is actually a blow-up. It's a little easier to see. You can see the, right here, is the setback on the building envelope, so you can see the house fits well within the building envelope, even with the 80 feet of frontage. Again, the lot. The lots immediately, this one I think has 83.5 and the next one has 81.5. They did a little land swap in the past of feet of frontage, so it fits in well. The lot to the north is the neighbor that mentioned about the garage, and we reduced the size of the garage for him. He actually has 2 lots, so he has a little bit more frontage. This house actually fronts on Pine, so he has, I think, 75 or 78 feet of frontage on Pine.
Right there.
This is what the lot looks like existing from street view. This is looking at the lot from Lincoln Parkway. This is the house at 39. This is the house next door. All this lot right now is a rock. A lawn, a well-maintained lawn. The fences along the side are deteriorating, and part of the proposal would be to replace the fences with vinyl fences. So right now, if you go down the street, basically this house, empty lot, house. So it just looks like a building lot, which it is. Hopefully. This is the architect placed the house on the previous picture, so you can see what the house will look like on the lot. So the lot, the picture is before there was curbing. The road has been upgraded since then, so now there's curbing. But that is basically what it'll look like once it's done. You can see the neighbor's house on this side. So it's gonna, I mean, it's not an overly large house. Excuse me, it's a nice house. It's a 3-bedroom, 2.5 baths, two-car garage. Fits in nice with the neighborhood. It'll really make the lot look a lot better. I have the building plans. If there's any questions about the building plans, but I've all seen house plans before. Here are the elevation views, just kind of show what the house is going to look like. Here's the street view, a little porch, back, there's a deck, there's the windows, not really many windows on the sides facing the neighbors, so again, it's a nice house. I think they did a nice job designing it. This is just the existing house at 39. That was one for the zoning board to see, because that was part of the application for 39 as well. And that's really it for the plan. This is the artistic rendering, architectural rendering of the house and the lot. You saw the picture, so it looks pretty much the same. I don't know if the board's had any questions about.
Thanks, Doug. So as I said, the proposal before you this evening meets the goals of the city's comprehensive master plan and sustainable goal 2025's housing choice plan. I'll close by suggesting that due to the extreme housing crisis that we find ourselves in, anytime that we can add a home to the city's housing stock without detriment to the character of the neighborhood is a benefit to the city of Lowell, and that is exactly what we are proposing to do tonight. We believe that we meet the criteria for issuance of the special permit, and we respectfully request issuance of that permit this evening. Happy to answer any questions that the board may have, though. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Gary. So I'm going to be open up to the public to speak first in favor. We did receive some communications by letters and email, so excuse me, I'm going to read a couple of them. The couple I got today and one I received as an email last week. The email first I'm going to be reading is from Nancy Judge, co-chair of the Highlands Neighborhood Association. This was sent to the Zoning Board of Appeals and then forward to the Planning Board. With regards to 38 Westview Road and 13 Lincoln Parkway, I was approached by Dennis Connors back in December of 2023. I met on site with Mr. Connors as the co-chair of the Highlands Neighborhood Association. He wanted my opinion of the project and what he needed to do going forward. I told Mr. Connors that constructing a single-family home, I looked at the site plan, would be much better than looking at an empty lot. I stressed the fact that speaking with the neighborhood and the abutters beforehand would be beneficial to all parties. Mr. Connors has done his due diligence concerning this project, so after listening to all the parties for and against the project, I do hope that the zoning board will consider approving the project, as I feel it would be beneficial to the neighborhood. Unfortunately, I'll be unable to attend the zoning board meeting, and that's as indicated Nancy Judge, co-chair, Highlands Neighborhood Association. This afternoon, we got some other letters. Let's see. First one I have is to the planning board members. I have discussed the Connors proposal to develop the vacant lot at Lincoln Parkway and construct a single-family residence to be occupied by a young couple that are friends of theirs. I believe that the lot developed as proposed and the plan would be superior to the vacant lot on its current condition. I urge the approval of the plan. This is signed by Bob McMahon, 57 Lincoln Parkway, Lowell, Mass., dated March 4th. I have another letter to the planning board. I have discussed the Connors proposal to develop the vacant lot at 19 Lincoln Parkway and construct a single-family residence to be occupied by a young couple that are friends of theirs. Development of the residence, as described, will have a positive influence in our neighborhood. I urge your approval of the plan. This is signed by Kathy Fenneval, 21 Canoli Street, Lowell, Mass. Then we have another letter to the planning board. I have discussed the Connors proposal to develop the vacant lot at 19 Lincoln Parkway and construct a single-family residence to be occupied by a young couple that are friends of theirs. I purchased my current residence on Westview Road last year and have gotten familiar with the Connors. I'm confident that they will see to it that this plan is approved by Lincoln Parkway lot will be developed into a very good condition, as is their Westview Road property. I urge the approval of the plan. Denise Capello at 41 Westview Road. Another letter to the planning board. I live at 28 Window Park Drive, Lowell, Mass., with my wife Pam. I attended the Board of Appeals meeting on March 11th, 2024, and spoke in favor of the 19 Lincoln Parkway, 38 Westview Road submission. I feel the single-family home is designed fits well into the character of the neighborhood and will be a betterment to the current vacant lot. I am unable to attend the planning board meeting scheduled for March 18th, 2024, due to a previous obligation. I ask for your positive consideration of the request for a special permit. This is signed Dennis Moriarty, 28 Window Park Drive. I think, let me think, do we have one more? Oh, one more, okay. My name is Sean Moriarty, and for the past 8 years, I have resided at 451 Pine Street in Lowell, Mass. With my wife, Caitlin. I'm writing this letter in support of the approval for the special permit for 38 Westview Road and 19 Lincoln Parkway in Lowell. On March 11th, I attended the zoning board meeting and spoke in favor of the proposal due to personal conflict. I am unable to attend your meeting on the 18th. As I stated that evening, the end of my driveway is a mere few hundred feet from the vacant lot on 19 Lincoln Parkway. This lot, while vacant, offers seemingly no value to the neighborhood. The single-family home being proposed, in my opinion, fits the characteristics of this neighborhood. The city is in the midst of a housing crisis, and adding a single-family home is not easy. I believe the new home would enhance the value of the surrounding homes while also increasing the city's tax base. Thank you for your consideration. This is Sean Moriarty, 451 Pine Street, Lowell, Mass. And I think that concludes the info we got. So having read it into the record, is there anybody here this evening who would like to speak in favor of this project? In favor?
I'm going to, my name is Nancy Judge, and I am co-chair of the Highlands Neighborhood Association. And I thank you, Chairperson Lenahan, for doing my speech for me. So I just wanted to let you know that I am here. And the only other thing that I would like to say is that the Connors have maintained that property for I don't know how many years now. It's always, the lawn is always cut, it's always well preserved, even just with that rock on it. So I'd like to have you all consider being in favor of the beautiful home that's going to be built on this property for these two young people. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak in favor?
Yeah, I'm her better half. Bernie Judge, 28 Far Street, Lowell, Mass. I've been a resident of Highlands for over 60 years. I'm quite familiar with that lot. We have friends that live in Lincoln Parkway. We travel by there all the time, and it would be a perfect fitting for that lot. So hopefully approval is made for the Connors. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, good evening. My name is Bill Morse. I lived across the street from Dennis and Leanne. I've been there 22 years with my wife, Janie. I'd like to lend my support to this project. I've talked to Dennis about it. It seems like a good fit for the neighborhood. As it has been stated, you know, there's a young couple ready to move in. It's not like it's going to be up for sale for a year and just sit there. So that's really good to have that. If it looks like anything like what Dennis did on Westview Road years ago, it's going to be a really great place. Also, I'd like to say, just consider the alternatives. Janie and I discussed years ago about buying the piece of property from Dennis and putting in a Barbie Beach Club. Now, Janie's been a model for her whole life. Can you imagine bringing her friends in and laying in the sun in their G-string bathing suits, playing volleyball? Are you kidding? Imagine the traffic jams. So I think the little bit of Irish luck here, if you would put this project through for Dennis, and that's a little bit more fitting for the neighborhood, is what we considered. But all kidding aside, I hope you approve the plan. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. My name is William Nichols. I reside at 48 Rendell Park Drive in Lowell, which is a street off of Lincoln Parkway. I've lived there for 45 years, and I lived in the neighborhood 22 years prior to that. So I've basically been in this neighborhood almost all my life. I walk by the property all the time, as well as Westview Road. I guess I'm an unsolicited favored speaker for tonight because I really did not know the Connors until last week. Just being a concerned neighbor walking around when development projects. I've been before the board in the past and have been a speaker against lots, trying to fit in on small lots at weird angles. But just seeing this particular whiteboard up on my walk a few weeks ago, I decided to check it out and find out what was going on. I'm very pleased with what it looks to be for a development. I think the request to have the minor variances and permits are minor. Physically, just looking at the lot, that was one of my concerns earlier. Like, why is there a concern about that? It looked like a perfectly legit lot. And I think the development of what looks to be like a house going on that lot fits it correctly. And I don't see anything but an add to the neighborhood. So I guess I'm happy to add my support to it. and hope you look favorably on it. The only negative thing that I heard last week by a few people was traffic. I had to laugh at that a little bit because, yes, it is a busy street, but we're talking about a couple moving in. Maybe they'll have 2 cars coming in and out of that house on a daily basis. But Lincoln Parkway does have a share of traffic, but it's basically tied into 3 schools in the neighborhood. And anytime you're there, it's basically the morning traffic and the afternoon traffic. Other than that, it's not a really heavily traveled road, and this certainly will not add to that congestion at all. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, members of the planning board, my name is TJ McKiernan. I live at 831 Westwood Street. I'm here to fully support the proposed plan. I've lived in the Highlands in this very neighborhood, very close to the proposed property, nearly my entire life, nearly 40 years. I've chosen to raise my family with my wife right around the corner. Knowing what I do about the plan, I believe it will absolutely stay within the character of the street, of the neighborhood, without question. And perhaps more importantly, too often we see young, successful, productive members of our community choose to leave Lowell. Too often. It erodes the strength of our city. Right here, before you today, we have an opportunity to do the opposite and attract a young, successful, productive couple who want to make Lowell their home. I hope we don't lose the opportunity. I urge you respectfully to approve the plan, and I thank you very much for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Well said.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, my name is Jackie Martin. I reside at 24 Monadnock Ave with my husband, Patrick. I just want to also voice my support for this project. I think it's a great opportunity to take an underutilized lot and develop it to welcome a young family to the neighborhood as well. So I ask that you approve this project, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kevin Moriarty. I live at 61 Rindle Park Drive. I just recently bought this property last year at the end of September, and prior to that, I lived on the corner of Highland Ave and Pine Street. Just to touch on what Attorney Geary said, like in the housing crisis that's happening today, like myself, many young adults, you need a lot of luck, a hope, and a prayer to even be able to become a homeowner. And if you look at the effort and the due diligence that the Connors put into this project already, even just to get it started, shows that there's no malicious intent to go forward with it. So I'm in favor of it.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, I'm Patrick Martin at 24 Monadnock Ave. Me and my wife Jackie, we're in total support of this project. We're excited for any chance to get more young families to come into the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else like to speak in favor? In favor? In favor? At this point in time, I'll turn it over. Anybody like to speak in opposition? In opposition? In opposition? In opposition? Hearing none? At this point in time, I'll turn it over to the board members. Do they have any questions? Caleb, can I start with you, if you don't mind?
Oh, yes, certainly. Thank you for all the neighbors and supporters of the project who speak up for the applicant. I think that really conveys to the board the diligence and considerations that the applicant have put into the design and also the application. So I certainly recognize that, and the presentation looks very nice. It's an attractive house on a slightly smaller property, but you got the zoning board approval there on the variance. So I think it checked all the boxes where that I would think that satisfy for our approval. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Caleb. Danny?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to Attorney Geary. Great job with the presentation. You and the surveyor, Doug Lees, did a great job pointing out the number of lots that are in that area that have 80 or so feet of frontage. That's kind of important. It shows that this is no different than all of the others, or many of the others. It's great that you have the support from the neighbors and friends. That's important. And I think what makes the most sense is Mr. Connors is not trying to put a McMansion in this lot. It's a reasonably sized house. Might be slightly under the average size house, but it's reasonably sized for this lot. And I think it'll make a good addition here. I do think one of the speakers has put a lot of pressure on this young couple, saying they're going to be successful and all of that. I hope they are, but it seems like a lot of pressure for them. But anyways, I think this is a nice proposal, and it's my understanding you've received all the approvals from zoning board, and all we're approving today is the frontage.
Right, special permit to reduce the frontage from 90 to 80 feet.
Thank you, Mr. Geary.
Thank you.
Mr. Lockhart, you're on Zoom. You have anything?
I have no specific questions, Mr. Chairman. I think it's a good project, adds to the neighborhood, certainly has the support of the neighborhood, is well thought out, well planned. I'm in total favor of it. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Allison?
No questions. I appreciate the due diligence. I appreciate all of the comments, and I think this is exactly the type of thing that we should be doing.
I mean, I think it's a nice fit for the neighborhood. As indicated by Mr. Tenzar, what we received from Attorney Geary was the layout that other houses, the two houses going down the street on the same right-hand side, both have undersized frontage. What's before us tonight is for the special permit, and what, under that section in the code, says that when it's 90 feet, they can come in before us and ask for a special permit for reduction up to 15 feet. So basically, they're just asking for a 10-feet waiver. They did receive all the other variance approvals from the Zoning Board of Appeals. Westview Road and Lincoln Parkway is a very nice neighborhood up there in the Highlands, and I don't think this will be a detriment at all to that neighborhood. Looking at the renderings, I think the house is going to fit in very nice. It's a good-looking house. It's a good-looking lot, and I have no objections to the plan. I think it's going to be nice. I applaud the neighborhood association for coming down and speaking. I applaud all the neighbors for coming for speaking. I always say when the neighbors are on board, it makes my job a lot easier. So I'm in favor of the project as well. So at this point in time, we need a motion for approval of the special permit. I'll make a motion that we approve the special permit.
Seconded?
Motion made second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposition? Hearing none, the matter is approved, 5 in favor, none against. Thank you very much, and thank you everybody for coming down and
Thank you.
speaking.
Thank you all for your time.
I appreciate you all for coming down. We really do. And hopefully you have nice new neighbors. Sure. We're going to take a 2-minute break for the audience to clear.
Hey, Danny. Dan. Danny, congratulations. Good.
It's going to be a running joke.
Okay, we're back on the record now. Next matter on the agenda is the planning board will appoint a member to the board for the Community Preservation Committee. The appointment will last for 3 years.
Right, we did do that last week, right? And I think a communication went to the city council at last week's meeting, I believe.
Yeah, we did that 2 weeks ago.
You guys did do it 2 weeks ago, but I think Fran made sure that they didn't put it to a vote. So I don't think the vote has ever gone on the city council agenda.
Oh, it was in the packet on Fridays.
Oh, it was?
Oh, yeah, I read it. I look at
wasn't
the
supposed
packet
to-
every Friday.
Okay.
And there was a communication from Tom Golden, the city manager, with Allison's name on it, to the council, unless it didn't get taken up and it got pulled from the agenda, but it was on the agenda.
When I saw it, I called and spoke with Dylan.
Yeah.
And Dylan said that he had communication with Allison that she didn't want to be on the committee. So that's why it's back on the.
Want is probably the wrong word. Can't is probably a better word. Yes, want, there's a desire, the time commitment, however.
Yeah.
I hope that got pulled from the,
Yeah, so I asked the same
think
question when I
Fran
saw it. I said, didn't we do that last meeting? I didn't know if it was a typo. And he said, no, she requested not to be appointed. So now we have to decide who else on the board.
If it's not, I guess then Allison will have to resign after a very short tenure, and then we can redo this.
I mean, if there's, this is me saying yes again. I mean, if there's only a few, I'm happy to step sort of in the interim until we find a solution.
They've
Yeah.
been meet for a while now, right?
We have a public hearing for them.
Mr. Chairman, can I cut through the stuff? Last in, first out. I'm the last guy to join the board, so if Allison can't do it, I guess I can.
I'll make a motion in favor for Attorney Danny Tenza.
I second and third that.
Second, third, fourth, and fifth.
That was predictable.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Much
Okay,
appreciated.
so a new member will be Attorney Tenza. And Peter, were you still looking at the schedule? He can send you what the schedule is, but I remember when I looked at it last, it had like 2 meetings in January, then it skips a couple of months.
Yeah, and
Like once in the summer.
I will say a lot of times the meetings do get canceled for like lack of agenda items because it's not like the planning or zoning.
not like monthly.
times.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
We schedule them monthly just so we have the room open, but most of those don't get filled. The next one that is happening for sure though is in 2 weeks. It's on March 28th.
March 28th, okay.
Oh, Allison, you owe me.
Absolutely.
Or maybe you can split the meeting. Okay, so, any comments from board members? I'll start.
Yes,
I have one. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Richard.
I have an announcement regarding the historic board. After an absence of, I think, 3 years, too, anyway, Doors Open Lowell
Oh, yeah, yeah.
will again take place this year on Saturday, May 18th. That's a real community event where buildings and historical homes around the city open their doors for visitation. It's very popular. It will take place Saturday, May 18th. And I'll have more to say about that as time goes on. The Historic Board's next meeting is on April 8th. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lockhart. So I was talking with Dylan today early, and I was speaking with Peter as well. We have nothing scheduled for the next meeting for April 1st. So with the approval of the board, I'd be willing to cancel that meeting if we have nothing scheduled for the agenda.
Is this an April Fool's joke?
Everybody in favor, not going for, they cancel the next meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Sure, so we'll have nothing on that date, and then we'll meet 2 weeks after that. So that actually happens to be the day after Easter, right? Yeah. Which is early this year, the 31st.
Yes, yeah.
Right, so that'd be, let me pull up my calendar, so we won't meet April 1st, I believe. We'll meet again in April, is that Thursday holiday?
April 18th,
Right,
Thursday,
yeah,
yep.
because of the 15th is a holiday and tax season. Get the papers in. Yeah, so we will meet again on April 18th, so, okay. Any other further comments from the board?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, because we're not meeting in April, because I wasn't quite sure where this is going, but I had handed out, and I handed out to Member Tanzat this evening, some verbiage from the housing bond bill that was submitted by the governor. And I don't know if there's going to be opportunity for testimony, but I may find myself in a position where I may. And it was the verbiage in the bill, so it's a relatively large bill, but you know, there was a very, very hotly debated issue last year regarding accessible dwelling units in the city of Lowell. And the verbiage in this state bill, and I'm just going to read it from two sections here. However, that no municipality shall unreasonably restrict the creation or rental of an accessory dwelling unit that is not a short-term rental. So clearly it's for rentals, not for, you know, aging in place and having grandma live there. It's just for rentals. And then that was page 37, and on page 38, the use of the land or structures for an accessory dwelling unit under this paragraph shall not require owner occupancy of either the accessory dwelling unit or the principal dwelling. So basically, across the Commonwealth, anybody in any single-family zone can make an apartment, and then they can either rent both units out, they can move out to someplace else. However, every community, it will be allowable if this passed as presented. And so, obviously, there are some concerns there. I do have, and I can share it with everybody, the state, I'm sorry, our state delegation for Lowell did submit a letter to the Joint Housing Committee in opposition to this direct wording, and that they were in line with the Mass Municipal Association's comments that it should be left to local decision-making on that, because each community has some nuances, whether that's appropriate. And so it's an important bill. I think it's very innocuous. It's buried in a very large bill. And in essence, this does away with single-family zoning in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And it's similar to, you know, out in California. Yeah, it's progressive, very progressive, however you want to look at it. If the board does not mind if I do speak, and I would be more in favor of, again, local control over it rather than mandating it across the state. If I say I'm the vice chairman of the planning board in the city of Lowell, and we did hotly discuss this issue, and we had public hearings on it, and a vote before the city council, whether or not I'd be speaking in an individual or at least speaking also on behalf of the board. And I wanted to get my fellow board members' comments on that, if there's any reservations.
My thoughts are, I would have no problem in having you speak on behalf of this board. This board gave you the authority to speak before the city council on the ADU when that came up.
Right.
As you know, you spoke on that 2 or 3 times, and one night I was here and we joined you together and we spoke, because they asked us a lot of questions. We had to sign in to speak. But, you know, the matter came before us. We outlined 7 different conditions that we were strongly in favor of. A lot of the neighbors agreed with what we had to say. You know, the board supported you to speak on behalf of the planning board, so I have no objections of you speaking, giving you the authority to speak on behalf of the board. We could take a vote on that, but let's first hear what the other board members have to say is my feelings. What do you think, Caleb?
So Generally, I would agree. I'm in support of ADU creation, but what is an ADU? Like, I think owner occupancy is very important because otherwise you just be another two-family residence. And so why not? Well, they could call the bill eliminate single-family, zoning. But I think there is a place there where there's the neighborhood character among other things, and I think also expectation in some way owner occupancy. And so I think if they do a broad brush of like eliminating that from local control, I think that would drastically change a lot of neighborhoods. And I understand at the same time there needs to be housing, but also the other concern is like nowadays more and more homes are bought up by investors, and that is a bigger concern that I will have. And ultimately, if this bill does not really help, it'll give people housing, but at the same time does not help home ownership. I think that will be a detriment. So I support Vice Chair Fischette in representing the board in this regard.
Attorney Tenza, what are your thoughts?
Mr. Frechette, I would absolutely agree with Mr. Frechette. This is basically eliminating single-family areas throughout the state. That's crap. Please express my viewpoint to the board or wherever you go. I mean, you can't do that. You can't just let, and I hear what Caleb has indicated. We do need housing units, but the question is what type and how are they going to fit in that particular neighborhood? That's why we need local control. So I'm all for it. I would wholeheartedly support you bringing our views to the state.
Thank you. Richard?
Yes, I'm in favor of having Jerry represent the planning board in that capacity. That's really all I have to say.
Okay, thank you, Richard. Allison?
Yeah, like Caleb, I'm also in favor of ADUs, and I appreciate the local control. And one of the things that when we heard from many folks in the city, one in particular was, we're often talking about minimum required parking, and something that came up was maximum required parking. When you look at the different towns and municipalities and cities in the state, some have colleges in them, some have two. And so a really different approach in terms of how we'd think about that. So yes, please do speak on our behalf. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll make a motion to allow Mr. Bichette to speak on behalf of the planning board before the state committee for housing.
I'll second the motion.
Mr. Chairman, just from a technical perspective, so that unfortunately, this is how this came. That committee has already had their public hearing.
Yep.
It's moved on to another committee. So it's actually the bonding
Okay.
committee, and then it goes to Ways and Means. So at some point, I don't know, I'm hoping there's going to be some opportunity for testimony. But
Okay.
unfortunately, it went through the housing subcommittee with no real testimony in opposition, per se. Mass Municipal did say that they in favor of local control. And again, our delegation also submitted a letter. But unfortunately, that was a lost opportunity. So I'm trying to see if we can't get it at one of the other committees.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Frechette, what is the opportunity to change the language in that? Where are the junctions where we can change it?
So
You
my
know?
understanding at this point is it's going to the Committee on Bonding at beginning of April, and there will be an opportunity, there should be an opportunity of testimony regarding concerns and whether or not they want to change the wording. I did attend a meeting, a Representative Acero from Westford was the keynote speaker. I'm on the committee for the Greater Lowell Housing Production Plan, Housing Plan, and he was the keynote speaker, and he was the chair of that joint committee. And his rationale was they didn't change one word in that bill. That was what the governor submitted, and they felt that they wanted to have the full bill out there for people to debate and discuss. So at this point, it would go on from the bonding committee. My understanding is to Ways and Means, and I believe it goes to the floor for a vote at some point. And obviously, the governor wants this, and it's a funding bill, but it really is it's a housing bill.
Yeah.
So, but I will keep you apprised of where that goes along in the process at this point.
And I will say, just because both my jobs besides here were at the State House, when that bill comes to the floor, if language is removed, it'll be done via amendment. It'll probably happen in one chamber and not the other, and then it will go to the committee where they hash it out, the differences, and we'll see if it survives then.
Yeah, great. No, thank you for that. Yeah, no, that's, yep.
Okay, so moving along, any other further communication, any other board members?
Do we have the vote on that?
Just if it would be, again, whatever testimony would be required in the process, I guess. Because again, it's already gone through the joint housing. It'll most likely be if I have an opportunity, it'll be the bonding committee at this point. But
Okay, so that motion was approved for you to be a speaker. Any other comments from any other board members?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, do we have our Rook Bridge update from Mr. Frechette?
April 1st.
April 1st. Rumor has it it's being fast-tracked, Mr. Frechette.
I will give you an official report after our meeting on the 20th, which, as you know, I reported has been scheduled for well over a month. So I will give you the latest update after that. I will tell you, I'm also on the city's housing production plan committee. We did meet today, and that process is moving forward. That will actually go from NEMCOG is actually facilitating that, and it'll come to the planning department for comment. Then it'll go back, I believe, to NEMCOG. At some point, it'll come to this body for a recommendation to the city council. So it's quite a comprehensive document. So I'm looking forward to the final version on that. There's a lot of work done in that, and it was actually segments of it were done in conjunction with the master plan process that took place. So just to let you know, I'm on the regional housing plan and I'm on the city of Lowell's housing plan, and those have been active committees, and I'm on the master plan committee. So
Okay. So we have no further comments. We have a motion to adjourn.
So,
Made by Mr.
Second.
Tenza, second by Caleb. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I chair votes yes. We are adjourned. Good night, and thank you, everyone.
They know who their dad is, so it's fine.